Here. So Ramez, do you want to start by introducing yourself to our audience and telling more about the course, also like a brief about the course?
Well, when people ask me, what do I do for a living? I say, I give people hope. I would maybe adjust that. I say, I give salespeople hope. Now, people say, Ramez, hope is not a strategy. I say, yeah, I get it. However, no strategy will work unless you have hope in that strategy will work. Mm-hmm. So, of course, what I do basically, to make a long story short, is I give sales professionals, business owners, entrepreneurs, the knowledge, the tools, the skills in order for them to succeed in building their business so that they can achieve all their life dreams and goals and wishes. They say nothing happens until something is sold, and many entrepreneurs, business owners start a business, go out and get started because they are passionate about what they do. They have a great product, a great idea, and a lot of times they forget that the idea and product itself, unless it is sold, it's not going to bring the right return. So basically, I help them to ensure that their sales are systematic and their sales are repeatable, so that they can do what they love to do the most and achieve any of their life goals and purposes. So that's basically it in a nutshell, Rea.
No, yeah, it's very important because nowadays there's a lot of competition, and if you don't know how to sell properly, no matter how good your product is, people are not going to buy. You have to have the people skills as well as the product to be able to buy successfully.
Well, that's it.
Yeah.
Well said. Mm-hmm.
So we have some questions that students who have taken your course that is on iDesign's website. Right. So they want to ask you some questions. So the first thing,
if I may just take a moment and maybe add one small thing. So when I spoke with the iDesign team and they wanted me to contribute, so what I thought really would be very, very powerful is how do you break down the sales process? So and you would think about these are fundamentals, regardless of if you've been selling for the last 10 years. However, lack those fundamentals, there are issues. And I've had a lot of clients reach out to me during the pandemic, during this period, and say, hey, Ramez, we'd like you to help our team sell virtually. And deep inside of me, I'm thinking, what is the difference between selling face-to-face or selling virtually? I'll tell you the difference is it's more difficult to sell virtually because now you really have to apply the principles of building rapport, the principle of building trust, the principle of identifying needs, offering the right solution, talking through principles of storytelling, connecting not just with the logical mind, but with the emotional mind, getting commitment. So long story short, there is a process, and that same process applies face-to-face, applies virtually. The only thing is customers or clients in the past, because the market has been going up, it's been organically growing, and they confused getting some sales, them knowing how to sell. They got one sale one time, they got one sale another time, and that, that bias, that they have built as a result of actions they have taken brought the sales. But what happened in the lockdown is they took those same actions and no sales happened. And that's when they were exposed. That's when they realized, wait a minute, maybe that's not how it is. Maybe there's something better. And thus, again, the key is to really go back to basics. So what this course does is it helps the entrepreneurs, business owners, even sales professionals, seasoned sales professionals, have what I call a checkup from the neck up. A checkup from the neck up, basically looking at attitude, but then looking at principles to help them systematically drive the results the way that they want to make happen. Thus, you'll see a lot of the questions we're going to get is a lot on the mindset, a lot of on how do we really, at the end, winning happens in the preparation phase, not in the execution phase, Rea.
Absolutely.
And if you go out there, I mean, you being a psychologist, you know this, it's the way you think is what's going to happen. So go ahead, let's fire up some of those questions and see how we can support our audiences.
Yeah, and I wanted to add that anyone can take your course as well, because you know, you don't necessarily have to have a product to sell something. You can sell yourself. If you're struggling to find a job, maybe you're not selling yourself right. So, you know, it's very important as well.
But absolutely, those same principles. You know, I'm a professor at Halt International Business School. Among the courses I teach is a sales course, is entrepreneurship classes, classes on leadership, courses on leadership, personal development. I mean, at the end today, finally, we realize that it's no longer knowing what to do, but it's about doing what you know. So I love teaching at Halt because it's not just the academics part. I bring the practical part. How do you really go out there and make things happen? So very well said. You know, these principles, if you're selling yourself, selling an idea, for sure, there's something in it that can help you, unpack a nice punch when you are with a prospective recruiter, client, or possibly a partner. You know, as you everything is a sale at the end, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Life is sale. Okay, so the first question is, in the course, you talked about the belief, mindsets, and self-talk. So how can one avoid toxic mindsets and train ourselves to talk positively to ourselves?
I think first, you know, thank you for this question. You know, this has been the story of my life. You know, when I was a salesperson, I remember vividly I remember sitting in the car before going in and knocking on someone's door. I used to sell knives door to door, and people on the course who have taken the course know I share a lot of those stories. And you know, what do I think about when I'm sitting in the car? If I'm thinking about, geez, I'm gonna go knock on the door and the guy's gonna slam the door in my face like the other 100 people did before that person, then I'm gonna be paralyzed sitting right there. And when I do that, you know, you notice what I did. There is a principle that the brain wants to simplify things for us, and the brain will do certain things that help us form beliefs. And I call it the DGD formula. The D is about deleting. So we delete information, right? And one of the things that I can tell people before you go into, for example, when I'm speaking, people say, you know, how do you prepare to speak? And I'll tell you that this goes back, you know, when I was, a new sales rep standing up and talking in a sales meeting. And I've had the first experience and something happened. People at the end of that came and thanked me, said, this is really good. Thank you so much. And then at the next sales meeting, a girl comes and tells me, look, I've made my first sale. And I was like, well, geez, how did you do that? She said, well, I did what you told me to do yesterday. So I started building those positive experiences from speaking, that, you know, when I speak, I actually help people. And it happens so many times. And then whenever I find myself stuck, I'm going to go talk to a very important audience, CEO, board of directors, drive certain value. I ask myself, Ramez, when was the last time you spoke and people didn't like it? And I do this on purpose because I don't remember. So I'm like, I can think of all the positive things. So again, the concept of deleting is sometimes we get nervous because we forget all the successes we've had. So if you're selling, the first thing you want to do is maybe remember, hey, when you sold the product or when you sold an idea, or how do you make people feel when you meet them? I know for a fact, if people are taking these courses, if people want to improve themselves, because they really are genuine individuals, and at the bare minimum, they know they can help someone on the other side. So you gotta think of the positive side. So if you're deleting, you're forgetting good examples. So the question is, and my question was, when was the last time I spoke and people booed me? It's like, well, I don't remember that. So it's like, that doesn't exist. So I remember the positives, right? So deleting helps us, or the deleting information makes us nervous. Second is generalizing. or nobody's going to buy. Like what I told you, just the last 100 people, you know, didn't buy, and maybe even this person. I remember one time, the first time this happened to me, where after a long day, and then I remember talking, and after knocking and then meeting with 5, 6 prospects, none of them bought. But then that seventh person, that seventh person at the end of my day, I remember going in and doing my presentation, and they were the nicest person, and they loved it, and they bought like made up my whole day. And I remember that and thinking, if I would have walked in, if I would have started my meeting thinking of the negatives I've had for the day, I would have been negative, I would have been depressed. They would have seen this throughout my face. And of course, I would have invited them to disregard me, to not take me seriously, to not see that I'm really excited about my product or believing in that. So the concept of generalizing can kill you. If you generalize negatively, so nobody's gonna buy, I say nobody, you know, so even in the recession, or even in this current, you know, lockdown, I've had people telling me, well, no one is buying. I say, are you sure? And then they like catch themselves. Well, maybe not that sure. I was like, maybe no one is buying from you, Habibi. You know, no one is buying from you, because you have this mindset where people aren't gonna buy, and of course you invite that to happen, right? So at the end, how do we shift? How do we avoid this toxic mindset? Number one is notice it first, in the first place. If you notice that there is a negative self-talk, a negative conversation, pause yourself and say, when was the last time, you know, or when was the last success I've had? Think of that positive experience as opposed to the negative experience, and then you see yourself getting ready for taking the right action.
No, 100%. And also, we're always criticizing ourselves, and we're more harsh to ourselves than other people are. We always tend to see the negativity in us, you know? So
that's right.
We should also remember that. Yeah.
Absolutely. The missing tile syndrome, you know, when people see, they see what's missing. I don't have this, I don't have that. Habibi, stop talking negative. And, you know, in my leadership courses, one thing I'll tell you is I found, and I'm saying this in a very gender neutral position, but I have a lot of students, when they do something called their personal development plan, at the end of the immersion, you know, the first, let's say, I used to do that within a week or two, an immersion program where I get the students to identify their areas for development. And what I get a lot is a lot of female students feel shy to speak up, feel uncomfortable in sharing their thoughts, feel that maybe they should speak up more and become more vocal. And again, it comes possibly from their upbringing, it comes from their cultural backgrounds. And I love the fact when people realize that, you know what, I am a person too, I have something to share, and then they make a decision. I think a decision comes before taking any action. Action with no decision is not necessarily the right action. So that helps them to focus on the behavior that they want to improve. So surely, people sometimes say, I'm not a good salesperson, I'm not a good salesperson. And if you keep repeating that, guess what? You're gonna materialize that for sure.
Yeah, you'll believe it for sure.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much. That was very, very useful. You know, also for me, I learned a lot. Because it's true, what you're saying is true, but it's hard to notice that and to apply it in real life.
So the key is noticing it, absolutely.
So the second question is, in the course, you talked in the sales success formula about the attitude. So how can we improve our attitude when dealing with clients for better results? So
I think the answer was kind of given in my previous answer, but I'll highlight something very, very, very powerful. You know, I was giving a webinar beginning of the month to a school, and this school actually, the principal has made a very powerful contribution to his to the parents. Many of them are business owners, entrepreneurs. So he made the networking learning session, and in that, someone asked me, Ramez, how do you keep this attitude? How do you? And I said something. You know what? You got to answer a few questions in the morning. When you wake up in the morning, just answer the following question. And the question is, number one is, am I a good person?
Mm-hmm.
And if I ask you this question to you, Rea, are you a good person?
Of course, I'll say
yes. Right? The answer is yes. If someone asks me, if I ask myself, yeah, I'm a good person. The other thing is, do I believe in my product or service? Do I believe in me? So if, let's say, you're selling yourself, you know, or if you're selling yourself for an employer, well, do you believe in your capability? Do you believe in your talent? Do you believe in your skill, in your knowledge, in your ability and grit to get things done no matter what?
Mm-hmm.
And if the answer is it's got to be yes. If you ask yourself this question and you like, yeah. And I really wish and I really hope people are writing these down, and you wake up in the morning and talk to yourself. Mm-hmm. And then the third question, am I a good person? Do I believe in my product and service? And the other one is, will I do something that will harm another person? Will I purposely do something to harm another person? Will you?
No.
I don't think so. you see, so all these things just go back to help me ground myself with value. Yeah. Deep inside, the principle of selling is more about helping, right? It's more about giving someone something that one of my mentors, Zig Ziglar, said, in order to get what I want, I have to help someone get what they want first. Mm-hmm. And this stuck inside of me. So a lot of time when I'm with a client, I'm not thinking of what I'm going to say. I'm listening to what they are saying so that I understand. And understanding and listening builds empathy. When I repeat what I am hearing to them, it connects. And empathy is it's the beginning of building trust. When you have an empathetic relationship with someone, when you feel someone is listening to you, automatically trust is going up. Mm-hmm. However, if you don't, then it is affected. So how do you work on building your attitude? Well, make sure to answer those questions, and then just get on with it, and remember the successes you've had from yesterday, and make things happen. So that's how to do it.
Believing in oneself, very, very important.
Absolutely. Go ahead.
So the third one is, some people face a problem with execution and taking action. So you gave in your course an example of commenting on football games. How can we train ourselves to execute and take action instead of just commenting?
Right. I think there are two parts to this question. I remember the example of football is spotting someone, let's say, with an opening, and you say, "Come on, pass the ball." Right? It's easier said than done from a distance. Yeah. It's easier to see the gap. So I think the answer to this question, it's in order for you to actually do, not just say, it's becoming more aware of how effective you are as a sales professional. Mm-hmm. I think when I leave a sales visit, I ask myself two questions. Number one is, what did I do well? Mm-hmm. Why I ask that question is because I want my unconscious mind to register and to remember all the nuances that I was able to consciously detect that I felt helped me in, let's say, delivering my pitch or delivering my presentation. So the second question is, Ramez, what do you think you could have done better? Mm-hmm. And what do I think I could have done better? And sometimes, I'd get stuck. I'll say, oh, I don't know. And this is part of humility. So I don't know. It's like I'm saying, I'm the best. I don't know. Forget about it. So I'm talking to myself. And then my inner voice goes to me and says, come on, Ramez, just give me one thing that you could have done better. And then I get a little bit critical. And that's when I open up. Mm-hmm. And I start saying 1, 2, 3. So I think number one, what you gotta do to start doing, not talking, is to know what to do. So the way you're gonna know what to do is by analyzing and criticizing and asking these two questions. That's number one. Now, number two is you gotta reward yourself for doing it. You know, I'll tell you one of the exercises that I teach my students. So part of building a habit, you know, that are 4 or 5 R's. Number one, you got to have a big enough reason. Why? Take action, right? Why? Excuse me.
No.
Number two, you need to have a reminder. A reminder, it's like oh, well, I got to do something. So maybe when you want to wake up in the morning to go to the gym, you have an alarm. But if the alarm rings and you don't have a reason, you put the alarm on snooze a couple of times, and then 7 o'clock comes, you miss the gym because you don't have a reason. However, when the alarm rings and you want to go put it on snooze, if the reason is clear, you know, and I would, this is part of my, it's like, Ramez, if you don't wake up right now, you're gonna feel the brunt of your day right around 3, 4 o'clock. Right? So you better get up. Do you want to feel bad? And my routine is every other day I do some sort of physical exercise and get some movement. So you got to have a reminder, you got to have a reason. And then you go with the repetition. Repetition is you got to know what to do. So you got to go to the gym, you got to ask the question, you got to do that. And then you have to reflect. 4 is you got to reflect. So what did I do well? What could I improve? And then number 5 is you got to reward yourself. Because if you do all things and you don't reward yourself, then what's the point of doing it? So you got to have these little doses of dopamine where every time you achieve, you have a big, let's say, goal, you break it down. And then when you achieve something, you give yourself a reward. So this is, for me, the secrets of how do you start taking action. Well, you got to have a reason for taking action. You got to have a reminder of what actions to take. And then you got to take the action. You got to reflect that I take the action or not. Can I improve upon it? That I do it well. And then, of course, if I do it, then I need to give myself a reward. So that to me is and you know, it's like playing XOXO. So you know, we've built an app for the Academy for Sales. It's called the Sales Coach app. It's for our corporate clients. Maybe we'll make this eventually for individuals, but it's all about building habits. It's all about looking at what behavior do I want to change, and getting that constant coach that supports you to apply these 5 R's that I spoke to you about.
Wow, that's very nice. So the Academy for Sales is your company, right?
Yeah, the Academy for Sales Excellence.
Great. Okay, so 4th question. What is your opinion on social selling? So selling through social media platforms. And do you think it is the future of selling? And are there any disadvantages for social selling?
The only disadvantage for social selling is for those people that don't know how to social sell. In other words, there are so many people that are on these platforms that are simply spamming and cold calling. And you know, connecting with me, and then the next thing they do is try to sell me something or offer me something. I think, you know, today social selling is a buzzword out there, and you know, because the attention of humans has shifted from live events to social events, or to online social, you know, to online platforms. The key is we need to have visibility, or every professional, every business, if they're not on these platforms, they're missing eyeballs on their business. And again, the principle of selling, before you can sell, someone has to know you, like you, and trust you. I say it one more time: know you, like you, and trust you before they buy from you. And if you connect with someone, that's know you. And if I try to sell you, that's like going to step number 4. It's like, hi, how are you? Want to buy? Hi, how are you? Want to buy? You're skipping the liking. You're making dislike. So of course there is no trust, and you know, it doesn't work. So the principle of social selling to me is extremely powerful, and the way that social selling work is by adding value to others. I think today people look online for almost all information. And being an authority or having certain valuable content, valuable insights, whether it's through a blog format, video format, do them in a way to educate, to entertain, and educate your audiences. And that's how you build that knowing, liking, and trusting. And that's how you when someone likes you, trusts you, then they'll want to have conversations with you.
No, you're
they'll want to be able to. Yeah, go ahead.
No, yeah, because I also get a lot of messages from companies and they just want to sell me right away. And it's very annoying. I find it very annoying when they just spam me and they're like, check out our page or want to buy this. So what you said is very, very true. They're just skipping so many steps.
Absolutely. If one of your friends says, hey, like my page, now you will do it blindly because you have this knowing, liking, and trusting from before.
Yeah.
Right? So today, how do you get there? And online, one of the master classes I'm doing on next week. What day is it? I think it's on a Wednesday. It should be the 23rd of September or 24th. I'm running a class on 3 secrets for virtual selling. And at the end, the concept of virtual selling has a lot to do with from a virtual perspective. There is definitely the social aspect. From a virtual perspective, are you building trust or are you destroying trust? Stephen M. R. Covey talks in his book, Trust. When trust is high, speed is very high. When trust is low, speed, it takes a long time to do anything with anyone. Plus, when trust is high, it doesn't, things are fast, but when trust is low, it costs a lot more. There's a lot more wastage, a lot more effort. So again, the biggest, I would say the word currency, the biggest currency in any relationship is gotta be trust. When trust is there, you can do a lot. And once you break trust, you can rebuild it, but it takes a long time. It takes a long time to rebuild it, but it's not impossible.
Okay, that's good to know. There's hope if you've
So if you've messed up in the past, stop messing up and start doing the right things, and people see that you're changing, and then they'll again be attracted to your brand.
Thank you for this very insightful answer. So this is the last question that your students have asked. So for the design industry, we are basically selling a service depending on tastes and opinions, because iDesign is mostly targeted for designers. So how can we face the challenge of different tastes and opinions for service-based selling?
Right. So this is design is a bit subjective. So everybody has their taste, and everyone is, everyone, I would say, is entitled to their own taste, right? And this is where the principle, Rea, the principle of people buy from people they like and trust. I'll give you a story. It's my son. My son is studying graphic design and marketing. He is studying at the University of Houston. And, about a year or so ago, he came to me, he said, Pop, I'm going to be graduating, but I realized that if I don't have the ability to sell myself, my ideas, then it's going to be a dead end, because there is a lot of designers out there. And I said, yeah. He goes, so what do you recommend? I said, well, I recommend for you to learn how to sell, and I recommend, why don't you find a job selling knives? So the same job I did in the US, 31 years ago, I said, try to, give that a shot. He went and did that, but he even took it one level forward. So he worked for about 6 months, got some great experience, but there is a program at the university called the Sales Excellence Program. It's a 1 year, course that puts students through a very rigorous process to learn how to sell, from selling sponsorships, events. So he had to do a certain interview. And I told him, I had prepped him, and I told him the magical question. Someone is going to ask you, why should we consider you to come to this course? And he said something that, let me see if I can reconstruct that and tell me how you feel as a result of this answer.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
So why should we take you? He said something, and I'm paraphrasing. Alex, if you're watching, Papa, you know, I'm just utilizing that story. He said, well, you know, maybe other individuals would actually say why they should go is because they're better than this or better than that. And I'm going to tell you something. I can tell you right now, I am not better than anyone. But for sure, what I can tell you is the reason why I want to learn, I want to be part of this program is because everything I have done ever since I was small, I do it to extreme, with extreme diligence, and I do very well at it. Whether I was the school band guitarist at my school, at my high school, but then learning graphic design and winning multiple types of competitions, etc. And today I know if I bring my let's say my hard work and my creativity with my colleagues, I believe that we can make a better team and we can succeed more together. Not because of me, nor because of them, but because of us working together.
Wow, that was very honest.
Yeah, it was. And I don't know, did you feel a bit connected with this answer?
Yeah.
All building empathy. So today, if I connect with another human being at an empathetic level, so there is a, you know, from psychology, there are multiple types of hormones, but the hormone that builds empathy is called oxytocin. So when there is an aha, when there is a warm feeling in someone's heart, you know, there is oxytocin. Oxytocin is the same hormone that infants get released when they are actually breastfeeding with their moms. So that level of closeness, that level of bonding that you have, this is what you get when you have a level of empathy and you have a level of releasing oxytocin. Clients will like you, you don't know why. And I think today, if you're in the design industry, if you're selling ideas, you're selling, you know, things that is service oriented, I think it's brilliant. You got to learn how to sell yourself, build a story. You got to, and today all designers, if you look at, he always keeps sharing with me these designers, I forget their names, but he tells me their stories and I'm like, okay, fine, you know, but the more stories that you can tell, the more connected you become with the clients, and clients buy you, Rea. They buy me, Ramez, before they buy my product or service. So if I give confidence to my client through my work, of course, the principle of social proof, but this is my historical work. So of course, if someone didn't like my history, for sure, they're not going to trust me to go do something for them. So the historical data here becomes very valuable. Using the principle of social proof, you can even get clients to give testimonials. So utilizing those as a way to build this connectedness with clients, build trust, a third person, a third party mentioning the value that they have gotten from working with you is very valuable to bust the fear bubble. Fear is what stops people from making decisions. And whatever we do in sales is we really need to build the confidence of for the client in our ability and our product's ability, so that it gets them the confidence to make a decision and to take action. As simple as that.
You're very right, because at the end of the day, your client is a human being just like you are, and it's human contact that really creates that bond together. Yeah.
And I'll tell you, as a designer, you know, there is plenty of work for everyone. There is plenty of work for everyone, guys, you know, because you are unique. The more you try to copy another person, the less unique you become, and the more commoditized you are going to be.
Mm-hmm.
I think here being able to remind yourself of your value, remind yourself of your uniqueness,
Mm-hmm.
and ensure to build a proper portfolio. This is why you have a portfolio. And plus, you think about the design industry. I have clients of mine who are in the industrial decoration. So, for example, in the paint, there are multiple stakeholders. It's not just sometimes it's the homeowner, but how about a big tower? How about a hotel? So you have the designer, you have the specifier, you have the contractor, you have a whole bunch of different ideas or different stakeholders that you can also find a way to influence, to be able to show them, the value of what you do, and how you do it. So that's basically it, Rea.
Yeah. Thank you for
Yeah.
these answers. They were very, very helpful for me, at least, and I'm sure also the viewers. Do you want to add anything else about the course and why people should take your course?
You know what? This is a really what I call a pivotal course. When I have a whole journey. It's about building habits. So the course itself is called Systematic Selling Strategy. To take this course, this is a 10 weeks program. This 10-week program works on individual lessons, goes into detail. It involves coaching with me or with my team. So I really help someone, not just, I love this because the video is talking back, so that you gave me questions, right? And through this forum, I'm able to answer questions. But imagine week on week, instead of just getting a group of questions, we have a small, let's say, mastermind, a small community of 10 to 15 people, and I handle those, and we share, and we leverage, and we're learning, not just from our own experience, but we're learning from the experience of others within that same community. So again, it's so every week there is a lesson. Every other week there are group coaching sessions, and by the end, something magical, Rea, happens at week number 6, the third coaching session. I see people's eyes, I see results, I see ROI, I see stories, how they've been able to apply, and this just puts a big smile on my face, because people come to me in many occasions frustrated. They come to me in many occasions, because they've missed opportunities. But when they finish with this program, they're like completely different people, more confident, more capable. Now they know, now they have the lens, they understand. I've had accountants come through my course. I've had designers, event people, you name it. People from different walks of life have been through it, and it really makes a big difference. So the thing is, so I try to find a way to give people a glimpse of what is this other level of mastery, and whether they would like to learn about it, great, or whether they take that same course. You know what? If you listen to it 3 to 4 times, you'll hear things you didn't hear the first 2 to 3 times. So that, again, repetition is the mother of all learning. So again, if people would like to learn more, let them feel free to Google me, or to look at my our website, theacademyforsales.com, and maybe you can share any questions, or you can follow us on Facebook, theacademyforsales.com, or you can look me up on LinkedIn, Ramez Helou.
Thank you so much, Ramez. It was lovely talking to you. And I hope also our users will enjoy your course. I certainly did. It was very, very insightful.
I highly recommend. Rea, first, it was a pleasure talking to you. Thank you for your contribution. So together we really gave some good value, and reconfirmed and affirmed these questions, broke them down. I would say for sure, if people would like to learn more, I'm conducting a complimentary session, a complimentary webinar on Wednesday, September 24th at 2 p.m. Dubai time. So the way you'd find this, the link, maybe I'll go on the page and I'll put it. But so feel free to register. It's a completely complimentary session, and I'll be talking for 90 minutes. So I'll share the 3 secrets of virtual selling, and I look forward to helping more of our audiences.
Of course. Thank you so much.
Pleasure.
And I'll talk to you soon.
Alrighty.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Ciao.